They say you don't know your neighbors until you're gone long enough for them to show their true colors. For me, that meant leaving the country entirely. My name's Major Daniel Harper, U.S. Army Logistics, 52 years old, with more deployments under my belt than family reunions. I'm not a man who asks for much, just a patch of earth that smells like pine and freedom, and a house I can call mine. Pine Hollow Acres was never my home, but the 3 acres I inherited just beyond its manicured grip sure were. My father left me that land before lung cancer took him. I built the house myself, poured the foundation, framed the walls, even welded the garage door tracks. No HOA meddling, no rules about mailbox colors. Just me, my land, and the open sky. Pine Hollow's HOA and I had an unspoken deal. They ignored me, and I didn't care. My property sat just outside their jurisdiction, connected only by a gravel road. Still, I was the guy who never paid dues or attended their meetings about lawn ornaments. 9 months ago, the Army sent me to Germany for a logistics operation. Endless paperwork, stale coffee, and colder diplomats. Before I left, I did what any soldier would. I gave power of attorney to my cousin Mark, prepaid my property taxes, and rigged my place with enough surveillance to make a spy blush. Hidden cameras in fake birdhouses, feeds stored on a secure server. No one was getting near my land without me knowing. Everything seemed fine. Mark sent me photos of the porch, the sagging mailbox, the usual. But 3 weeks before I was due back, I got a letter that hit like a punch to the gut. Notice of eviction. Pine Hollow HOA claimed my property as their own, citing some municipal ordinance about abandoned land. They said it hadn't been maintained since 2020. I thought it was a joke, some HOA busybody with too much time. Then I called Mark. His voice was raw, like he hadn't slept. Dan, you're not going to believe this. While I was overseas keeping supply lines running, a crew from Pine Hollow rolled up in a branded SUV, cut my gate lock with a grinder, and marched in like they owned the place. They told Mark, who'd stopped by to check the sprinklers, that the land was now community property. They'd moved tenants into my house, strangers running an Airbnb operation. My garage turned into an HOA storage hub, stacked with road salt and banners. Worst of all, they'd trashed my father's things, his medals, his photos, the flag from his funeral. That's when I knew this wasn't a mistake. They'd picked the wrong soldier to mess with. I landed in Texas with a clenched jaw and a fire in my chest. Mark picked me up in his old Ford, and we drove to Pine Hollow in silence. Nothing prepared me for what I saw. My house looked like a suburban showroom, new flower beds, tacky lawn flamingos, a gray gate with a sign, Pine Hollow Community Depot. Inside, strangers lounged in my living room. A woman sipped coffee from my dad's chipped mug, the one I broke during a storm in Kuwait. A man in a polo shirt, classic HOA board material, approached me with a smirk. You must be the former owner, he said. I stared him down. I'm Major Daniel Harper, and this is my house. He chuckled. Not anymore. It's community property now. The garage was worse. My workbench was gone, replaced by stacks of safety vests and a banner. Pine Hollow proud, united, clean. My father's flag was missing. Mark handed me a flash drive. One of the cameras caught something, he said. We listened in his truck. A woman's voice, Lisa, the HOA president, clear as day. He's overseas. It's free land. The county won't check. We've got the notary stamp. Then a man's voice, one I knew too well. Greg, my neighbor, my friend from Iraq patrols. If he sues, I'll say he gave me permission, he laughed. I'm still his emergency contact. I sat there numb. They hadn't just stolen my house. They'd erased me. I hired Sarah Collins, a former JAG lawyer with a mind like a steel trap. She didn't flinch at the eviction notice. We start with the county records, she said. The paperwork was a mess, forged signatures, a dead notary, missing tax receipts. My property was listed as abandoned despite Mark's maintenance. Someone had wiped my server backups, but they missed one. It was no accident. This was a heist. The HOA didn't stop. They slapped fines on my mailbox, warned Mark to back off, and turned neighbors against us. Lisa held a press conference in my garage, calling my house a reclaimed hazard and me a discharged drifter. Sarah saw through it. They're painting you as unstable to justify the theft. Then Mark found a note in his bushes. Back off or lose more than land. I started sleeping with my pistol loaded. The breaking point came when I heard machinery. Excavators and a cement truck idled on my land, with a sign, Future HOA Parking Lot. I found my father's medals and flag in the trash, crumpled like garbage. I climbed onto the cement truck, recorded a video, and declared my ownership, sending it to Sarah and the Army's legal team. 30 minutes later, the Army confirmed. The Service Members Civil Relief Act was in play. Federal action was greenlit. The HOA didn't see it coming. Federal marshals served Lisa with a cease and desist order. We watched her kick a potted gnome in rage. HOA assets were frozen, and Sarah filed an injunction with every piece of evidence: forged documents, camera footage, Lisa's voice plotting more thefts. A forensic team raided my garage, uncovering files on other residents, mostly elderly, who'd sold their homes under pressure. This was bigger than me. Lisa fought back with a defamation suit, claiming we'd ruined her civic reputation. Sarah laughed so hard she choked on her coffee. Witnesses came forward, including the Garcias, a family threatened by Lisa for helping me. The Army issued a public statement condemning HOA predation on soldiers. The trial was a reckoning. In my dress blues, I watched Sarah dismantle Lisa and Greg. The birdhouse footage played Lisa plotting, Greg laughing. A cyber expert traced the forgery to Lisa's laptop. The county clerk admitted to overlooking irregularities under HOA pressure. Mark's testimony about the trashed flag broke the room. Greg caved, blaming Lisa. She claimed she was protecting order. The judge wasn't having it. You targeted a deployed soldier. That's not a mistake. That's a crime. The jury took 3 hours. Lisa got 7 years in federal prison, a lifetime ban from civic roles, and $200,000 in restitution. Greg got probation and a public apology. The HOA was dissolved, its assets split between restitution and a fund for soldiers facing similar fraud. I walked back into my house, the air clean again. Mark and I rebuilt the garage, bolting my father's workbench in place and hanging his flag by the window. A new sign went up at the gate: private property, defended by oath. With the settlement, I fixed the damage and started the Soldiers' Land Defense Fund, with Sarah as legal director and Mark on tech. We got hundreds of inquiries in days. The story spread news, blogs, a veterans podcast. Neighbors apologized, but I didn't forget. A kid left a crayon card. "Thank you, Major Harper." I taped it next to my dad's photo and brewed coffee. My house was mine, and no one would take it again. What do you think about this story? Have you ever faced injustice or betrayal like this? Share your thoughts in the comments, especially on how far you'd go to fight for what's yours. Let's hear your stance.